Welcome to my kitchen, friend. If you are new, my name is Becky. Today we are going to be making 4 different back to school snacks. Now I am a toddler mom. My son is not in school yet, but these will work perfect in my life too. We're busy. We are constantly, this summer, going to the pool. Tomorrow we're going to the zoo. We go to parks. We do lots of fun things where I need easy grab and go items. So I've got 4 different recipes. We're gonna make granola bars, which is the first thing we're gonna get started with. And I'm just gonna start melting some butter in here. I have been on the lookout for a chewy granola bar. I've made tons of different granola bar recipes and most of them call for peanut butter, but I want a granola bar that's mostly just oats, sweet, and chocolate, because that's what my family's favorite is when it comes to granola bars. So I'm hoping this is that recipe. My dog is asking to come in, so I'm gonna let him in. We are also gonna be making 3 flavored muffins, but only 2 different muffin batters. I was thinking that I could package these up in little Ziploc bags, throw those in the freezer, and when we go to the park, zoo, OMSI, whatever it might be, the pool, or you could put them in your kids' lunches, then they will be thawed by the time you're ready to eat them, because we're gonna make mini muffins instead of buying those bagged ones. And we're gonna make a lot of them in a short amount of time, or at least that's the goal. And then we're gonna make a copycat Lara bar. So here, I have gone back and forth 5 or 6 times. Am I gonna double this recipe? Am I not gonna double this recipe? For the chewy chocolate chip granola bars, it says it makes 18 bars. And if these are good, these are going to be a big hit. So I think I'm gonna double it because it's not gonna take me any more time to double this recipe as opposed to just making a single recipe. We're gonna freeze all of these items so that if you can't go through them in a reasonable amount of time before they would not be fresh anymore, you can just keep them in the freezer. Each one of these recipes says it is freezer friendly. Now this butter the wrapper's not wanting to come off. My butter is frozen, so I want to get this on the stove first thing. And we can measure out the rest of our ingredients while this starts to melt. And I just realized we only need 1.5 sticks, not 2 full sticks. So to that, I'm gonna add 2/3 cup brown sugar. This is the first time I'm ever making a granola bar where you heat up the ingredients and you boil it. We need 3/4 cup honey. I'm out of spray, which is kind of a bummer. Now I've made granola bars that my family likes, but they're not the chewy granola bar that you get at the store. So my goal for this recipe is hopefully I found one that's gonna be that store-bought chewy granola bar consistency. We like peanut butter in this house, but it's not our end-all be-all flavor, especially not for a granola bar. So we need 3/4 cup of honey. Normally I would spray this first before adding the honey so it comes out faster and easier, but I'm out of spray. This honey right here is honey from our own honeybees. They're right there. Now we need this to all melt, dissolve, and boil for 2 minutes. I want to get all this honey out of here. Every last drop. While that is cooking away, I'm going to go ahead and just do my math real quick for the double recipe, because if I don't do that, my math will end up wrong. So that's 1, 2, 3¼ Okay, so now we're gonna measure out our dry ingredients for this. The recipe says to use quick oats and not to substitute it. I did not have quick oats, so I did have to buy this for this recipe. I feel like in the past, maybe what I've done is substitute just old-fashioned oats for the quick oats, and maybe that's been my problem, why they kind of fall apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I've never done a cooked sugar base before. If I did not already mention it, I will link these recipes down below for you. Now this is some puffed rice. 2, 3, and a quarter. I'm going to consider this boiling now at this point, so we're going to boil this for 2 minutes. While that's boiling, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of flaxseed meal, 1/2 cup of slivered almonds, a good pinch of salt, maybe 2. I'm going to mix this together. And I just realized I put this in a glass bowl. I probably don't want to pour that boiling sugar butter mixture on top of that. So I'm going to transfer this into a stainless steel bowl, just for safety. That looks beautiful. To this, we're going to add a good splash of vanilla, and we're going to stir. Ooh, that smells good. When I do projects like this, I do like to double it. Probably when you're making recipes for the first time, it's wise not to double it, but I have good faith in this recipe. I just like to double it because it's the same amount of time for twice the amount of product. So it's just a lot more efficient. I really want to mix the chocolate chips in, because last time I made granola bars, I just sprinkled them on the top like this recipe said. And they quickly became the first thing eaten off the bar. And then the bar wasn't always totally eaten. So I'm really wanting to mix them in, because that's how they are when you buy granola bars, is they're mixed in. But I'm kind of worried if I mix it in right now and I don't let this cool a little bit, they'll just melt, which I guess wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, because melted chocolate is delicious. Now we're supposed to put this in a 9 by 13, which is what I got out, but I doubled it. So I've got one of my baking dishes here. And again, I'm out of spray because we're supposed to spray this. I'm just gonna put some avocado oil on there and use a good old pastry brush. The reason I'm starting with this recipe, normally I would start with something that needs to go in the oven. This is supposed to sit in the refrigerator for 2 hours. I don't think it's gonna take us 2 hours to get all this done, but it might take me 2 hours to get all of it done and a kitchen clean, and then we can pop these out of the refrigerator. We can cut them up and wrap them up. I've let this cool for a couple minutes, so I think we can go ahead and add our chocolate chips. The recipe that I'm following and linking down below for you does say you can substitute dried fruit, but I know chocolate chips will go over very well in my household. So I'm gonna get those in here. So far, it doesn't look like they're melting too bad. Maybe a little bit. Trying to go quick. I feel like I could have added a few more, but that's probably good. I'll probably sprinkle some on the top too. We're gonna call that good. Dump that out. Oh yeah, it melted a little bit, but I wouldn't say too bad. I'm gonna put a little oil on my hands and press this out. They smell good. So if they taste anything like they smell and the texture's right, this is going to be awesome to have this recipe found and in my arsenal. I'm trying to make sure they're even thickness across the whole thing. I think if I had done the whole shebang, they would have been too thin. So this seems like a reasonable thickness. I'm super excited about these. So we're going to get these in the fridge. And I think what we're gonna do is start on our second bars, which are going to be our chocolate cranberry Lara bar dupes. And those need to chill for an hour or two before we can cut into those. That way we can get going on our muffins while everything is chilling in the refrigerator. Because we're gonna make mini muffins, they're gonna cook really, really quickly. So let me grab out my food processor. I'm gonna wipe up my mess. I have no regrets mixing that chocolate into the bars because the ones that I was putting on the top were not really wanting to stick on the top, and I do think I let it cool a little bit too much, and that's why they weren't wanting to stick. So this recipe looks so easy. It only has a few ingredients. Well, rereading my recipe, I forgot that I was supposed to toast the nuts first, and this recipe calls for pecans, but I brought up almonds, and I'm considering substituting almonds for the pecans, but now I'm thinking there might be a different oil content in almonds versus pecans. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and follow the recipe, which means I need to run downstairs and go grab pecans. I'll be right back. Well, maybe I don't have pecans. I found cashews, which most of the Lara Bar dupe recipes I found online call for cashews. Oh, here they are. I'm gonna look in this freezer one more time because I really thought I had them. So we need to toast up 2.5 cups. We're gonna do this in a dry pan. I like to keep my nuts in the freezer so that they last longer. And that's the rest of that bag. I'm gonna use all of those. I have a really good feeling about the granola bar recipe because while these were toasting, I washed up the bowl that we mixed it in and it's hardened up nicely. So I think that granola bar recipe hopefully is gonna be a winner. Now this Lara Bar recipe, I am not doubling this one because I don't think I've ever bought these and had my family try them. I know I like them, but this is gonna make quite a few. They're very rich and they're nice quality ingredients going into here, so it's kind of an investment to make these. So I'm just gonna make a single batch. If my family loves them, I can make them again. So I've got an 8x8 or a 9x9. This is an 8x8 and that's what the recipe calls for. Now this recipe did not say to spray the parchment paper. So I'm just gonna line that, and then I'm gonna get my toasted nuts in here. You probably don't have to do this step, but it's gonna give you a little bit more depth of flavor, and it only took a minute. There's some powdery bits from the bottom of the bag, and I don't really want those in here, so I'm just kind of getting the bigger pieces in here. The powdery bits got a little toastier than the actual nuts themselves, and it smells incredible. If you don't like pecans, there were lots of recipes online for a Lara Bar dupe that used cashews. This is a chocolate recipe. So we're gonna add our cocoa powder in there. And I'm not gonna go through the effort of sifting this because we're gonna blitz this up in the food processor. And we're gonna blend this until very, very, very smooth, but not nut butter consistency, it said. My family just came in here and we just took a bite of the granola bar. Delicious. It hasn't set up yet, but it tastes incredible. Because I'm gonna blitz this up more when we add our dates, the recipe says between 15 and 20 bejeweled dates, if I'm saying that correctly. And I did buy pitted ones, because that's what they had at the store, but I'm just gonna check each one just to make sure. These are really nice. I don't think I've ever bought pitted ones before. That's 2, 4, I need to count them as I go. 5, 6, 16, 17. We'll do 18 and see how that goes. I can add more. You can see how there's different size ones, so that's why it depends on how big your dates are. And then to this, we're gonna add a good pinch of salt, maybe 2. some vanilla, and we're gonna blend this. You could also roll these into balls probably instead of into bars. That's pretty sticky. I think I'm gonna add, what did we do, 17, 18, 19? Let's just go ahead and do 20. 20. I feel like when I was pregnant, I made something very similar to this and I rolled them into balls. But we're gonna make these into bars. I'm gonna use this bowl that I dumped my pecans in earlier, and we're gonna mix in our cranberries. The recipe said you can dump your cranberries into the food processor and mix them that way, but it would chop them up. And I kind of want the cranberries on the bigger side because these are something we enjoy as a family. And we need a 1/2 cup. And this is 1/3 of a cup, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a heaping spoonful and a little bit more. And now I'm gonna go ahead and just mix this together. So that was easy. This is probably the easiest recipe we're making today. I guess we did have to toast the nuts, but you probably could skip that step if you wanted to. I know you could skip that step if you wanted to. And it's definitely kind of crumbly at this point, but this recipe needs to refrigerate for at least an hour before we cut them. Oh my goodness, this smells so good. Super simple ingredients. I'm really gonna push this down hard. Into the fridge it goes. So I'm cleaning up and kind of regrouping just a little bit, and we're gonna get going on the mini muffins. We're gonna make 3 flavors. The first flavor we're gonna make is a base kind of vanilla muffin batter. We're gonna cut it in 2, and we're gonna make blueberry muffins with that batter and chocolate chip muffins with the batter. So I am doubling this recipe. I found a chocolate chip mini muffin recipe on this site, and I found a blueberry mini muffin recipe on this site. The only difference between the two is the blueberry mini muffin recipe had a 1/4 cup more Greek yogurt. So I think I can just make basically the base recipe and turn it into chocolate chip muffins and blueberry muffins. My goal for this is for them to be kind of like the little bite muffins that you can get at the grocery store. In my household, mini muffins always go over better than full-size muffins. So they have kind of become a family favorite of ours. And we're gonna make those 2 flavors that I just mentioned. But I've got lots of zucchini coming in from my garden, so I thought it would be fun to do a chocolate zucchini mini muffin as well, because chocolate is one of my family's favorites. So I have a 1/2 cup of butter here. I'm gonna go melt. And while that's starting to melt, I'm gonna go ahead and start grinding some wheat. Now, the recipes that I'm gonna be following don't call for fresh milled flour. They call for white all-purpose flour for this recipe, and then for the next recipe, it calls for store-bought wheat flour. I wanna see if I can use fresh milled flour in these recipes, so I did look it up, and when you're converting from white all-purpose flour recipe to a fresh milled flour, you wanna add an extra 1/4 cup per 1/2 cup. So I need 2 cups of flour, but with fresh milled, I'm gonna get 2.5 cups milled up. You hear how that sound changed? That means that is done. So let's get our dry ingredients in here. Now you could line your mini muffin tins with muffin liners, but I have found that that's harder to eat. So we just go with a good amount of oil, and I would normally spray it, but my spray is out. So that was our fresh milled flour, and I did add a 1/4 cup per 1 cup. That is baking soda. The reason I believe you add more fresh milled flour than store-bought flour is it's super light and fluffy because it was just milled, and it hasn't had time to just compact over time, or it hasn't been on a pallet with hundreds of pounds of flour compacting. Now, one trick with fresh milled flour that I have learned to make a better quality product is to let it sit for at least 15 minutes before you go to bake it. And that just helps the bran and germ, like the fiber part of it, to rehydrate. And then I can see if I need to add a little bit more flour. I don't think I'm going to. This seems like a good consistency for a muffin because once it sits, it will actually firm up a little bit more. So I'm not gonna add my mix-ins until after this is sat for 15 minutes. So while this is sitting, we can go ahead and start on our second recipe, which is our zucchini chocolate muffins. I'm gonna use this bowl that I ground my flour into to measure out my flour. And this recipe does call for whole wheat flour. So that's 1, and we need 1 1/4. So we need 1 and about 1/2. That looks like cinnamon, which we do need some of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that now. I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, baking soda, baking powder, salt. I'm gonna mix that together. Now we're gonna grate our zucchini. This is a white zucchini, and they are absolutely delicious. I really like this zucchini because it's kind of dry. We are gonna squeeze the moisture out of this zucchini, but there will be less moisture in the zucchini than a regular Black Beauty zucchini, which is the super common zucchini. I do have one of those harvested as well, but I chose this one just because I think it will have less moisture content. We need 1 cup. After we squeeze out the moisture. So I'm gonna grate probably what looks to me about 1.5 cups. I'm going to chop this up a little bit finer. Just because we're making mini muffins, I think a little bit smaller texture will be better. That was exactly 1 cup. We're gonna get that added along with our butter, 1 cup of milk, 2 eggs. I'm not doubling this recipe. That's pretty much it. I almost forgot the vanilla. And then this recipe does call for chocolate chips, and I'm gonna add mini ones. This is looking a little bit on the thin side to me, but we're gonna let this sit for a few minutes, and if it's still looking a little on the thin side, I might add a couple more tablespoons of flour. But overall, that's our second muffin batter done. And I think it's a good time to go ahead and start our oven to bake our muffins. And all these muffins are supposed to bake at 375. So here are our bowls we're gonna use for our mini muffins. I'm gonna divide this in what looks like about half. I'm just guesstimating there. I have this huge bowl because I need to get my bowls from various places, but I'm going to make this one, or how about this one, into mini blueberry muffins. And I did buy some wild blueberries. I have blueberries that we grew, but they're really big. So I think for mini muffins, this is gonna work a lot better. And then in this one, we're going to add chocolate chips. And we're gonna get that mixed together. A couple chocolate chips get into the blueberry one, that's okay. No one will be upset about that. Okay, so we've got our two batters here. I'm going to just make sure the oil is evenly divided in here. I've got 2 muffin tins here. It's probably gonna take a couple rounds to get all of these muffins baked up. I don't know why I've never thought of making a huge batch of mini muffins and freezing them. I make mini muffins all the time, but it's usually my son tells me he wants muffins, and so we make muffins together. And I usually only make 1 pan's worth, but it has been so nice having them frozen in the freezer. I'm going to show you how I'm going to package them in little snack bags. And it's been, I think, about 2 weeks since I actually did this snack prep day. And it has been a lifesaver. We've gone to the zoo, we've gone to the park, we've gone to the pool, and I've been able to grab a couple different types of muffins because usually we either go with cousins or friends. And so I can grab 3 or 4 bags of the snack bag muffins. I can grab some string cheese, I can grab some applesauce, I can grab some fruit, and some of the other snacks that I made, just to, whatever we're feeling that day. And it has been so nice. I meal prep other types of foods like breakfasts and lunches and dinners, and I'm not a big snacker, and so it's never been something that I've needed, but now we are a family and we do lots of fun outdoor activities, and it's just nice to be able to have something prepped that I can just grab and go. So this has been really, really nice. Now, one thing I will say is I mixed the 2 batters. I have the blueberry batter in here, and then I do end up putting the chocolate chip batter. I was thinking because it's the same batter, it's going to cook at the same rate. What I did not think is that the blueberry batter has frozen blueberries in it, and the chocolate chip batter does not have frozen berries in it. So I probably should have baked just the blueberry batter by themselves, and just the chocolate chip by themselves. And it ends up being okay. I probably overcooked them just a touch, but we've been enjoying them. It's been delicious and wonderful. And I am so glad I took the time on this day to prep all these snacks. I just pulled these out of the oven and they are piping hot. So I'm gonna push this over here. And I've got my cooling rack here. I'm gonna start, some of them I overfilled just a little bit. Oh good, they're not sticking. I probably overcooked these just a little bit, but I think they'll still be delicious. Let me get a little knife so I can work around. Here is where I'm realizing, oops, I probably should have cooked the chocolate chip muffins by themselves and the blueberry muffins by themselves, because the batter obviously cooked at different rates because the temperature of the batter was different, but they end up turning out just fine. You can see they are a little bit probably more caramelized than I normally would make them, but we've been eating them and enjoying them. But that's just something to note, that if you make them or if I make them again, I will cook the batters separately and not together. So I'm gonna have to scrub this really well to get all the crumbs off so that I can bake a second round. These I kind of overfilled just a little bit, but they'll still taste delicious. Definitely not the prettiest muffins I've ever made, but they sure do taste good. I've had a couple of each. While those were baking, I took some time to go ahead and clean the kitchen. I had my dishwasher going. I sat down and I took a little bit of a break, and that's why they got a little bit dark, because I was not in here. And then after I took those out, I just washed these up, and we're gonna get them dried out so that I can get them greased really well. And this next time I'm gonna try not to bake them quite as long. I did forget to set a timer, which is pretty common for me, unfortunately. But I could smell them, and then I was like, oh, I think my muffins are done. So now I'm gonna get this cleaned up. I wanted to get all that crumb out of here so that Orbit, those are not for you. I didn't have a problem with things sticking. Got the rest of my batter here. It's probably gonna take one more, probably 2 rounds to get all of this baked up. I need to order some more spray. My plan was to actually cut into those granola bars because it's been plenty of time. They should be set up now, but I really wanted to get the kitchen kind of tidied back up. So I prioritized that, and then I prioritized taking a little bit of a break. So if you all have any suggestions for quick and easy snacks that are your go-to homemade snacks that you like to keep on hand, I would love to hear that, and I'm sure others would really appreciate that. We are completely out of breakfast grab-and-go items, so at some point here shortly, I'm gonna go ahead and set some time aside to get some different breakfast items. I've got a little too much oil in here. I've got a bowl over here I'm gonna shake this into. And I was, actually when I was sitting down taking a break, I was researching different breakfast make-ahead items, and I'm really excited because I found some fun ones. And obviously, these are a breakfast item right here. If we have these for breakfast, what I would do is probably cook up some bacon or some sausage or fry up a couple eggs, have some fruit on the side. I think I could probably get one more muffin if I scrape this. Oh, maybe 2. Try not to overfill them this time. I think because I don't have that much batter left, I'm gonna go ahead and just make a couple full-size muffins. I probably can only make 1 or 2. And that way I don't have to wash these mini muffin tins by hand again. We can just throw those in the dishwasher. I don't think I've ever made a chocolate chip muffin before, and that is delicious. It basically just kind of tastes like a chocolate chip pancake. All right, so now let me go get washed up, put this in the sink, and we're gonna cut into our granola bars. I actually kind of like that those got really crispy because on the outside edge, they're kind of crunchy, which is delicious. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah, these are totally firmed up. Look at that. You can see right here where we cut it off and gave it a try, and it was delicious. I probably let this sit in there a little too long. And I want, let's see, should I use my serrated knife? Probably. I'm gonna cut this end off because I wanna straighten up this edge. Maybe we'll do thirds. Okay, it's better just to push down and not saw through it. I think I found my go-to granola bar recipe. They are holding together, they're chewy, they're not baked, and they have no peanut butter, which I like peanut butter again, but let's give it a try. We did it. I found the perfect homemade granola bar recipe. It's chewy, it's soft. I have no regrets doubling that recipe. When I was, I don't know, in high school, Fiber One bars came out, and they were our favorite go-to granola bars. Growing up, I ate so many of those, and these taste exactly like that. I like that there's that honey in it. You're getting that honey flavor, but it's not like overpoweringly honey. Honey can sometimes be super strong, and that's not super strong. That is delicious. Oh my gosh, super excited about that recipe. Now what we're gonna do is cut into our Lara bars. These have to stay refrigerated, I think, to keep their, well, maybe not. I'd have to look at the recipe again. These are gonna be super rich, I think. And I'm gonna clean up the edge. That won't go to waste, but oh, see, these are crumbly. Maybe I need to freeze them for a minute. There we go. Well, let's just taste it. Delicious. I don't think these can be bars though. They're just falling apart, which is no big deal. So I'm gonna turn them into little energy balls. These are good. I think these will probably be more fun to eat anyway in a energy bite, energy ball form than in a bar form. Maybe I did not quite add enough dates to it, or I didn't grind it fine enough, I'm not sure. All I know is that it tastes good. We can just put these right back into our baking dish. Just like this. So I think the problem here is that I did not blitz up the cranberries in the food processor. The recipe said she likes to blitz them up in the food processor because it's easier, but you don't have to. You can mix them in whole, and I kind of wanted them in whole. They are turning out perfect for energy balls, but I think if you wanted these to be in bar form, blitzing them and kind of getting the cranberries a little bit smaller is going to be the key, so that they're not in the way with the knife, and then also probably adding a few more dates than I did, so it's a little bit stickier. I think I'm gonna actually like these energy balls better than bars because I think one or two of these is gonna be super rich, and that is gonna be all you need, maybe two, and you're gonna be good to go. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24 chocolate cranberry energy bites. Okay. All the muffins are out of the oven now. I'm gonna try one of these. It's super dark chocolate flavor and not very sweet. Did I forget to add the sugar? It tastes good. I added chocolate chips, but it's not very sweet at all. It tastes like a dark chocolate muffin. I may have forgot to add the sugar, or there just wasn't very much sugar in this recipe. I don't think it's gonna be a problem. I think they taste delicious. They just definitely aren't crazy sweet, which is fine because the granola bars are pretty sweet. The blueberry and chocolate chip muffins are pretty sweet, and the Lara bars are fairly sweet. So to have something that's not quite as sweet, not a problem with me at all. But I may have forgotten. And the texture's good. Well, whether I forgot the sugar or not, I think they're plenty sweet from the chocolate chips. And these are coming out a lot easier. I think the key is not to overfill your muffin tins. These ones I might even be able to Nope. Winner, winner, granola snack dinner. I've had Josh taste these. They are so good. And I also had him try my chocolate muffins. He said they're good. They just aren't very sweet. So I don't know if I forgot the sugar. You all probably saw whether I did or not. I looked at the recipe and there was only a 1/4 cup of sugar in the whole muffin recipe. So maybe I didn't, and they're just more of a dark chocolate type flavor. Now this is what I'm thinking of how to package these up. These energy bites, I think what I'm gonna do is freeze them. And then I can just pull 1 or 2 out. I think I'll be able to pull them apart no problem if I freeze them in this quart container. I grabbed 2 out. These are really good too. These, I did not think were gonna be my favorite. And for me, it goes granola bar, these energy bites. These few I'm gonna pop in the fridge so we can have them for the week. This batch here, I'm gonna go ahead and freeze. And then the granola bars, I'm gonna freeze these as well, not all of them. They said that they can last, I think she said on the recipe, up to 3 weeks in the fridge. You wanna store them in the fridge just so they stay nice and fresh. But we can't go through this many granola bars probably in that amount of time. So I'm just gonna go like that, put a lid on this and pop this in the freezer. This is my absolute go-to granola bar recipe from here on out. And then these muffins. What I was envisioning for these muffins were the little bite muffins that you get at the store in packages. So we can just grab a bag out of the freezer and take it to the park or to the zoo, whatever. I'm going to the zoo tomorrow, so whatever it might be. So I'm gonna put 5 mini muffins per. I don't know if that's too many or not enough. It's probably just right. So I've got these little snack bags. And I thought this was really fun. These muffins definitely aren't the prettiest, but they are delicious. So that's on me though, because I messed with the recipe and I added fresh milled flour and I kind of went a little bit on my own adventure there as opposed to following the recipe, which obviously we all know when baking, it is ideal to follow the recipe exactly. So if I wanted them to look prettier, I probably should have followed the recipe, but they still taste great. This one's gonna have 6. I think these ones I'm actually gonna throw in the freezer, and the ones in that container I'm gonna pop in the fridge. You could wrap these individually if you wanted to for school, so your kids can just grab one out at a time, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. So here is the final haul. We've got this whole container going in the freezer and all of these granola bars going in the freezer. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 snack bags of the chocolate zucchini muffins. We got 4 snack bags of the chocolate chip muffins, and we got 5 snack bags of the blueberry muffins. This is what I'm gonna pop in my fridge. 1 big container of granola bars and a container of energy bites. One reason I love to try new recipes is you never know when you're gonna find your family's new favorite. And I have said it before, but this granola bar recipe is by far my family's new favorite. It's chewy, it's got good crunch to it because of the rice. It doesn't have any peanut butter, which I love peanut butter. I love the flavor of peanut butter. But when it comes to a granola bar, I'm looking for a granola bar that tastes like a store-bought granola bar that doesn't have peanut butter in it. And I think this is it. It's got good texture. You could make a huge batch of this, super easy. I could see making a quadruple recipe and putting it on a huge baking sheet. And you could do that in no less time or no more time than it took me to do a double recipe. And you could have homemade granola bars for your family, and you got to choose the ingredients that went into it, which I think is fun. That's why I like to cook from scratch. I just enjoy knowing what goes into it and me being able to decide what's important to me when it comes to ingredients. So anyway, I had a lot of fun. These recipes will be linked down below for you. I think we're gonna like these little snack bags. If we do, I will keep doing it. If not, we'll try something different next time. So thank you for being here. Let me pop some videos here. You can go enjoy between now and the next upload. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I can't wait to see you next time.